Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I thought I'd start with a few questions. Let me ask, how many of you are road warriors looking for a way to work remotely and minimize the time you spend in planes, trains, and automobiles? Imagine what you could accomplish with all that time savings, right? Let me ask you another question. How many of you have created valuable frameworks and content that you'd like to leverage and package for the masses? Who wouldn't want their IP to benefit more clients, right? And how about this one? How many of you would like a way to replace the frustrating feast or famine of fee-for-services with more consistent and predictable revenues of a subscription or membership business model? It's what we would all want, right? Well, today I'm going to share with you multiple ways that you can use ManageHub to achieve it all. And at the same time, serve more clients and improve the quality of your work and the quality of your life. Welcome to our 30-minute webcast, how to use ManageHub to transition your consulting practice into a lucrative subscription-based business model. My name is Mike Kramer, and I'm founder of ManageHub. And as you likely know, ManageHub is cloud-based software that allows leaders to create a private collaboration platform that they use to engage their employees and consultants in process documentation and continuous improvement and strategic execution. And there are two primary ways that consultants use ManageHub. The first way is as it was originally intended, to manage the turnaround or optimization of an entire organization, a business unit, or even just one department. These engagements have the goal of transforming the organization into a highly efficient, organized, innovative, resilient, responsive, flexible, and competitive market leader. And I'm proud to say that ManageHub makes it surprisingly easy to do. The second way that ManageHub is used, we stumbled upon. Actually, consultants stumbled upon it. They started to report that they were using ManageHub to implement compliance and certification programs of all types, like CMMI. It all started with CMMI, and ISO, and cybersecurity, or frameworks and methods of their own making. And these consultants reported how astonished they were, how quickly their clients were able to address even complex sets of requirements using ManageHub to engage frontline employees in a rapid and iterative improvement process. Well, in both cases, whether orchestrating a turnaround or deploying a compliance framework, consultants use ManageHub to structure incredibly valuable, impactful, and lucrative subscription-based engagements. And now, at the request of consultants around the US and the world, we're creating a way for you to create your own privately branded ManageHub that you can pre-populate with your firm's proprietary content and sell directly to your clients as a monthly subscription service. Visit our partner page on the ManageHub Accelerator website, and you'll find 5 examples of how consultants are using ManageHub. Each example leads to a website or web page of real products that are available for purchase right now. These include cybersecurity consulting, M&A and value growth consulting, CMMI consulting, Baldrige consulting, and EOS traction implementations. We invite you to create your own versions of these or whatever compliance and regulatory or certification or even homegrown programs that you support. We simply hope that these examples inspire you with some great ideas of how you can start building your own ManageHub subscription service. So now that I've piqued your curiosity, let's actually log on to some ManageHub demo accounts, and I'll show you how the platform works. And while we click around, let's imagine all the ways that you and your clients can benefit by using ManageHub to transition your practice into a subscription model. For example, think about how you can use ManageHub to simultaneously serve more clients. That's key. Simultaneously and honestly with less effort. Think about how you'll be able to replace inefficient emails and phone calls and meetings with online and asynchronous collaboration. And think about how you'll be able to increase your clients' interaction with greater touch and responsiveness. As we click around, you'll notice how employee-friendly it all is and how consultant-friendly it all is. You'll be able to drive more value to your clients because you're giving them always-on access to you, your guidance, your feedback, and your support. Your clients aren't going to have to wait for a meeting for your insights. They're not going to have to furiously take notes. It's all going to be one click away. Okay, so do you remember I mentioned that there are two ways consultants use ManageHub? Let's start by exploring how they use ManageHub to deploy compliance and certification programs. Then we'll look at how they use ManageHub to orchestrate a turnaround or business optimization. Does that sound good? Okay, then let's get started. Here we are at the Baldrige Live version of ManageHub. Notice it has a familiar social network look and feel. It has news feeds, it has search, it has face grids and list boxes. What you can't see is that it also has built-in autoresponders, email notifications, and daily reports, and that's what keeps you connected to your client. Every time something changes, you're alerted, and if it requires your response, you can immediately respond. But what really makes ManageHub unique is here. It's the way it organizes people into a network of teams, and the way it organizes the teams into a specific organizational structure. So here we have the Baldrige leadership framework, and all of the requirements are neatly organized by category. See that? And with one click, you can drill down to a single workspace where all the people who are responsible for addressing this requirement can work together to gather the knowledge, to ask questions, to implement improvement initiatives for gaps that were identified. And it all happens within this one collaborative online workspace. All of these people may be from all over the country, so it's great for distributed teams, or they may be located in the same office. But what's fantastic about using an online workspace like this is that you're not knocking on their door, you're not having a meeting, nobody's being disrupted from their normal routine of serving their clients and driving value for their business. When it's convenient for them, they can work together to address the specific requirements that they are assigned to. And these people may be assigned to multiple workspaces and different ones. So in this case, they're an embedded team. And embedded in the team is a consultant who's going to review their questions, review their work, offer feedback and support. And in this way, just imagine how much more effective you can be when you're serving multiple clients in their own independent Baldrige Live or CMMI Live, or fill in the blank, your company live, where you're engaging your clients and their frontline employees in addressing your framework with your content. And what's beautiful about this is that we'll help you set up your own private version of any of our existing live versions of ManageHub, Baldrige Live, CMMI Live, ISO Live, whatever it might be, or you create your own framework with your own structure. And then in these workspaces, you could preload it under the Knowledge tab with all of your content. So you can create a framework in the box, cybersecurity in the box, Baldrige in the box, with all of your content neatly organized there. And that'll give them a head start, your clients. But once they start making progress, notice that every workspace has an activity feed so that you're able to keep track of all the changes that occur related to addressing this one requirement, whatever it might be. So it's easy for you and internal supervisors to stay updated on what's happening in what could be, 50, 100, or in the case of CMMI, over 300 requirements. And all the knowledge related to addressing this requirement, in this case, the responses for completing a Baldrige application, or all of the documents that have been assembled, they're neatly organized by requirement. So imagine how much more convenient it will be to share information with an embedded team. You're not searching on a SharePoint drive and sharing documents with an email that are going to get lost. And then also, and this is the coolest feature of all, under the Issues tab, you can create any kind of conversation you like. You can share an idea, you could report an issue, your clients can ask you a question, you could start a discussion. And so in this example, one of the internal embedded resources is saying, what do we need to do to complete P2C, which is performance improvement system, a requirement in the Baldrige framework. And right within the workspace itself is an embedded conversation. So instead of losing track of emails, the entire conversation, the thread of the advice, the important, valuable advice, it's not going to be lost. How much of your valuable advice has been lost in phone calls that aren't well documented and shared, or emails that are lost forever? Now that beautiful advice that you're providing, that valuable advice, is contained right here for all to see, including supervisors. So in this case, she starts off the conversation, reviewing the activity feed. So far, your team has identified QAPI and PDSA related to your improvement system. To complete the response, we need to know a few things. And then she gives specific listed instructions. And now everybody who's invited to this workspace, they start the conversation. You see, different resources are adding new content, and it gets to be a richer and richer and more mature response to this question. And within this same online workspace, you have multiple questions and multiple conversations occurring, just like you would have multiple emails. See? Okay, so that's a little bit of insight into a certification program, or in this case, an award program for Baldrige. Let's switch now to M&A Live. How about that? Okay, here is M&A Live. And what M&A stands for those of you who don't know, is mergers and acquisitions. And anytime an organization wants to sell itself, when they find a prospective buyer, there's usually a very comprehensive due diligence process where they have to amass an incredible amount of data, reports related to their assets, contracts, all the different kinds of contracts, articles of incorporation, meetings, bylaws. All of this has to be reviewed by the due diligence team of the prospective buyer. Well, if you wait for the prospective buyer to come knocking at your door, it's a very stressful endeavor to collect all of these documents. What's more stressful is when some of these documents are really needing some cleanup. So a much better approach is to proactively address all of the documents, gather the documents, and have it reviewed by an investment banker or a merger and acquisition advisor for propriety. And anytime there's something wrong, it could be discussed. So let's go here and say we need an explanation for, okay, so let's go to the accounts receivable analysis. So this is just one requirement, having an accounts receivable aging and analysis. And so you could see right within the thread of the activity feed, a lot of conversation in what they need to do to clean up that accounts receivable, which isn't to change the data, but they need an explanation for the top 25 past due accounts. And so that conversation can happen in advance. If you're going to wait for the due diligence process to occur, well, you can just see how frustrating it might be to address all of those all those requirements all at once. Okay, so that's a wonderful way to use ManageHub, M&A Live. So now let's switch to cybersecurity, and let me show you that. Okay, and now here we are in CyberLive, and I'm hoping that you're starting to understand how easy it is for you to create your own version of ManageHub to package all the content and IP and frameworks that you work with. In this case, we're using ManageHub to address the NIST cybersecurity framework. But you could easily, if you're a cybersecurity expert, use ManageHub to address any framework, SANS or ISO, whatever it might be. And under each of these categories are all the specific requirements. So here under incident management, under detection and analysis, that's just one requirement. And notice again how we invite in the internal resources and an embedded consultant to help the organization address the requirements related to that one specific detection and analysis requirement. And again, you have an activity feed where all the chronology of change history appears. So it's very easy for you as a consultant or internal supervisors or even team members can see what's changed since your last visit. And under the Knowledge tab, you have all of the policies and procedures and training methods all neatly organized, all related to detection and analysis. And why this is so important for the organization is that most of the time, institutional knowledge is so easily lost, especially with a moving target like cybersecurity. Everything's so changeable. And if these resources move around in the organization or move out, they take with them the valuable knowledge of how to perform detection and analysis. So the first thing we want to do is the embedded consultant wants to make sure that the policies and procedures are well documented. And then once they're well documented, they want to be sure that they're actually being used properly. So the first thing we do is help them improve the way they address detection and analysis requirement. And again, using these integrated discussion workspaces, instead of relying on emails, instead of conversations being lost and not memorialized, you have it all embedded right here. And again, it's a wonderful way for you to justify the continuing ongoing relationship with the organization, because all of the value that you provide is organized and archived and available for all to see for time immemorial. Everything is searchable. Okay, so now let me show you the second half of this. If you go to detection and analysis, it's not just that you have the policy and procedure and method in place, it's that you're actually using it. So another great way to use ManageHub is to continually assess compliance related to the framework of your choice. So here we are identifying the vulnerability scans that are performed monthly. And with one click, you can actually review the scan that's been uploaded. And if there's an issue, right embedded within the workspace itself, resources can ask you questions. And again, instead of being lost in an email never to be found, it's captured and available for all to see. So if you're a consultant and you work with compliance or certification programs, you will know that using CyberLive or ManageHub to create your own live version of any framework of your making, it might be a framework that you develop on your own. It's a wonderful way to address all of the requirements, engage people with constant touch. All of these people will get to know you by first name, and they will be able to say how valuable your services were. So now let's take a look at the time. Okay, I want to now go to, give me a moment, I'm going to switch over to a ManageHub site, and I'm going to demonstrate how organizations use ManageHub for business optimization. And by the way, this was how ManageHub was originally intended to be used. All right, so now you can see our regular demo site. And instead of using ManageHub to implement a certification framework, we're using ManageHub to implement improvement in all of an organization's operational processes. So of course, using ManageHub, the organization can customize their workspaces with their departments, and organized underneath each department are the specific operational processes managed by that department. And then within each workspace, you can invite in all of the employees who perform that one process. You know, for any organization who has multiple locations or have a distributed team, instead of having multiple manager ways or having multiple location ways, now the organization can finally create one company-wide way and pursue a systematic, repeatable, and excellent way to address each of its operational processes. And again, just like a certification program, one of the big frustrations is that the organization loses its institutional knowledge as soon as the key person who owns that knowledge leaves. With ManageHub, that institutional knowledge is captured, and it's captured right within the workspace for everybody to share. Not only do you have the procedure of performing the process, but you have training methods and any other templates and worksheets that are used. So instead of having it archived, kind of like at the end of the Indiana Jones movie, where they take the Ark of the Covenant and put it in a mass warehouse, never to be found again, that's kind of like a lot of people's SharePoints or Dropboxes. Now you're actually capturing and organizing the knowledge with the people who actually manage the process. And in this way, you actually teach people how to be leaders of their own work. And what is it to be a leader or a manager? It is to document and improve. So not only are they documenting the knowledge, but every time there's an issue or a problem, anybody can come right here and they can share an idea or report an issue or ask a question or start a discussion. And if customers are complaining about rude drivers, now they could bring in resources from all over the organization to resolve it. So you're teaching people how to report and help others resolve issues internally so that you're not suffering from those repeating fires over and over and over again. ManageHub is used often. I don't know if you're a Traction or EOS implementer, but EOS implementers, Traction is a popular book written by Gino Wickman. It's a framework, actually. I have posted here their framework. And many EOS and Traction implementers use ManageHub to help their clients implement key tenets of the EOS model. For example, managing those issues. Usually, the way EOS implementers resolve issues is in a meeting, but now all those issues can be captured and resolved in advance of a meeting. And then all of them can be organized with a ManageHub group. And right within the group can be all of the projects, which EOS calls rocks, all of the issues that are to be discussed. So it's just there's so many ways that you as a consultant can use ManageHub to create a repeatable process. And that's what you want in a membership or subscription model. So let me ask you a question. I've been clicking around, going back and forth between different sites. Are you starting to have ideas of your own how you could create a predictable revenue stream? Are you starting to think how you can grow your company sales by leveraging all of the amazing, valuable content that you've created over the years? And very importantly, let's talk about this. Can you see how you could use ManageHub to prepare for a lucrative exit? Because what most consultants don't realize is that it's very difficult to sell a consulting practice. Fee-for-services practices are not very desirable. But if you can convert and translate your consulting practice into a subscription or membership model with predictable revenue streams, all of a sudden your consulting practice becomes much more attractive to risk-averse prospective buyers, because what they really want is that predictable revenue that they can count on coming in every single month. Also, have you been thinking about how you could turn your own consulting process into a more systematic and consistent approach? Many consultants find it much easier to grow because now they can hire associates who follow their systematic approach using ManageHub. It's also a wonderful way to disrupt your marketplace because instead of just offering the typical on-site consulting or off-site training, now you can offer always-on access to your valuable guidance, feedback, and support. ManageHub powers it, but the value comes from your content that you put in it. So, like I said, we started this whole program at the request of consultants who use ManageHub. And the way they've had to use it is every time they would get a client, they would have to create a ManageHub and they would populate it with their content. So what we've done is we've created a way for you to create your own version of ManageHub. We give you templates, and you could populate that ManageHub with all of your frameworks and your content. If you want to use Baldrige Live or Cyber Live or CMMI Live, you could use those frameworks as well as a head start. But really what you're going to want to do is also populate your template with all of your valuable and unique content. So we have 3 plans that you can choose from. The starter partnership plan is just $500 per month. And you'll notice what's unique about this program is that you have an embedded ManageHub consultant who works alongside you, who handles all the technology aspects. So not only will they help you master the technology aspects, but they will help your clients as well. So you could focus on doing the work that you perform. So the first thing that will help you do is set up your templates with your structure and with your content. Then every time you have a client who you want to use and sell a subscription to, then you can go ahead and use your template to create that unique platform just for your client and their employees and their invited participants. Of course, they'll invite you in as well. And so there's 3 partnership plans that we have. If you need more than one active client, you don't need to jump to the $1,500 level. You could just purchase an additional ManageHub. So I hope I did a good job for you. I think we're running out of time at this point. Let me check yeah, we're right at the bottom of the hour, so it was perfect timing. Thank you again for being here. I'm available to you. Please contact me at 847-675-8211 or Skype me at On The System or email me at mike@managehub.com. I'm available to you. I hope to work with you. Thank you all.